I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation.
Thank you for tuning in to Jeremy Sports Network. I'm coming to you live. We are talking Danny Garcia versus Brandon Rios is close to happening. Is this the right fight for Danny Garcia? We don't know. It remains to be seen. And this is why we are here having this discussion on today. And we're going to talk a little bit about Brandon Rios. But before we talk about Brandon Rios, I want to talk about Danny. Because Danny been in the news lately. And he's been talking, you know, a whole lot of trash in my eyes. In the disrespect that he's throwing and issuing out to guys like Terance Crawford. Saying that how can Terance Crawford be pound for pound when he hasn't faced anybody? Now, when you say he hasn't faced anybody, Terance Crawford has faced who's been put in front of him. He's fought your girls Gamboa when Gamboa was on top in his career. Not only did he fight Gamboa, but he also fought Victor Posto. I mean, you can Felix Diaz. I mean, you could continue to go down the list as far as the fighters at 135 and 140 who Terance Crawford has faced. Now Terance Crawford is ready to transition into 147 and to become to king that 147-pound division. There will be a gauntlet for Terance Crawford to go through, but he's not afraid. And for guys like Danny Garcia, who Danny is proven, we can't sit here and say that Danny isn't proven. We can't say that Danny is a paper champion or anything like that. But a lot of people give Danny Garcia the name cherry picker for a reason. Now, early in his career, just talking about Danny's career as a whole, early in his career, it's tough competition. He fought Eric Morales twice. He fought Ashley Theophane, where he won that fight in split decision. But he fought Eric Morales. He won that fight. I believe the first fight was split. No, with Morales. I think the first fight was unanimous. The second fight was knockout, right? But in between the Eric Morales' fight, he fought Amir Khan. So then he fought Zab Judah after he knocked out Eric Morales, and he gave Zab Judah a time for his money, right? Even though that fight went the distance, but he pretty much owned Zab Judah throughout that fight. Then he took on perhaps one of the most feared men in the division in Lucas Matisse, and he dropped Matisse. And he then, that's Danny Garcia at his height, at the height of his career, after what he did to Matisse. But then he had a homecoming match against Mauricio Herrera, which I felt he lost that fight. And you can go all the way back when Jeremy Sports Network wasn't Jeremy Sports Network like this. It was just me in the living room talking boxing. And I said straight up, Danny Garcia lost that fight. I remember it. He got touched by Mauricio Herrera all night long. But they gave it to the hometown kid in Danny Garcia, which kept him undefeated. Now, Danny, after that, took on Rod Soccer in a fight where I felt as though he won that fight against Soccer, even though it was a knockout, right? Easy knockout for Danny. But then the Lamont Peterson fight. This is coming up on that second loss for Danny. I felt as though Lamont Peterson beat Danny, but they gave it to Danny again on majority decision. And then he fought Paulo Malignaggi, in which he knocked out Malignaggi. That was a TKO. Then he fought Robert the Ghost Guerrero, where he won that fight unanimous decision. Then Samuel Vargas, which was a fight that everybody didn't want Danny to take before he fought Keith Thurman. But after he knocked out Samuel Vargas, then we got the Keith Thurman match where he lost by split decision, but I felt as though that was a unanimous decision victory for Keith Thurman. Should have been unanimous. But that one loss to Keith Thurman, he should have lost to Mauricio Herrera, and he should have lost to Lamont Peterson. That's three losses that should be on Danny Garcia's record. But, they paved the way for Danny to be where he is right now with that one loss to Keith Thurman. And you would think, why is Danny not facing a guy in Sean Porter? Well, we seen Sean Porter was going to be. Uh, they said that they ordered Sean Porter to fight Danny Garcia for the eliminator for Keith Thurman. Well, that never happened, and we didn't hear Danny talk any shit when it came to Sean Porter. Then we go and talk about Danny Garcia taking this fight with Brandon Rios. Now, when you talk about Bam Bam Rios, his career, mm, I'm going to say he had a lot of ups and he's having a lot of downs as well. But he's back on, having some ups, right? Brandon Rios, he faced in his last fight a fighter who I felt as though wasn't any competition for him, but he won this fight, Aaron Herrera. He won that fight by knockout. But before that, he lost to Timothy Bradley. He defeated Mike Alvarado. He defeated Diego Gabriel Chavez by disqualification, and then he lost to Manny Pacquiao, and he lost to Mike Alvarado again. So I'm trying to figure out why Danny chose this fight. Now, in my eyes, this is what I'm going to say for Danny to speak on Danny's behalf. When it comes to Garcia and this fight with Rios, maybe Danny's taking this fight to keep himself active and have a fight to close out the year. So when Keith comes back in January, Keith will get another fight. That'll be a tune-up fight because he's been out of the ring for so long. That'll give him a tune-up fight. But after that tune-up fight, then just maybe they may order for Danny and Sean Porter to face each other, and the winner takes on um, Keith Thurman. But if Garcia is to lose to Sean Porter, where does he go after that? Because the rest of the division, everybody is looking to take on somebody else who has a title. You got Errol Spence saying, hey, if Terance Crawford can defeat Jeff Horn and win that title, then let's unify. So you don't see a guy like Errol calling out Danny Garcia because there's nothing for Danny to give Errol Spence right now. Errol Spence wants Thurman at the end of the day. But when you try to pan it all out and figure out what is the reason why Garcia has taken this fight, to me, in my eyes, I don't think it was a cherry pick. I think it was Danny putting himself in position to where he can have a tune-up fight to close out the year with a really good name. Because Brandon Rios is a good name, He did win his last fight by knockout. So he says that he's back. He has a new trainer, new team, new everything. So he says he's back. And if he's back, then hey, this looks to be maybe a really good fight, even though it's not the fight that everybody is looking for and the fight that everybody wants. But hey, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, if this is the fight that Danny chooses to close out the year with, then we have no choice but to be okay with that. I just don't see anything wrong as a lot of people say it is right now because we're getting to the end of the year. This year, he faced Keith Thurman early in the year. He lost. Keith went into surgery, been out for the rest of the year, comes back in January. Maybe Danny could have faced Errol Spence for the IBF. We don't know what happened. Maybe that's a fight that Danny is not wanting to take right now. But at the end of the day, this is what we got. And hopefully this fight, is signed, sealed, and delivered. And we will have this by the end of the year. Danny Garcia versus Brandon Rios. This is Jeremy Sports Network signing out. Peace.